Next in our probability chapter, we're going to talk about odds. So first of all, how do we distinguish between odds and probability? Well, a probability is going to be a percent or a decimal between 0 and 1. So in this first one, 0.73, that would be probability. Odds are either in the form of let's say A to B. So this would be odds, 1 to 3. Or you could say A semicolon B. So 6 to 1 here, you still say it 6 to 1, would also be odds. You could also list odds as a fraction, but since we also list probability as a fraction, then we tend not to do that so we don't get confused. So next it says, how do we calculate odds? If you roll a 20-sided die, determine the odds for rolling a number less than 7. So here's how we calculate odds. The odds in favor, or we could just say the odds for, are the probability of A to the probability of not A. And of course I said it's better to write that finally as with the semicolon in between. But you'll see why I'm writing it first as a fraction here when we work our examples. Then the odds against A would be the probability of not A first to the probability of A. And recall that the probability of not A is 1 minus the probability of A. So let's go down here and look and see what we got. So let's read this again. If you roll a 20-sided die, determine the odds for rolling a number less than a 7. So the odds for a number less than 7 would be the probability of getting a number less than 7 over the probability of not getting a number less than 7, which we could say greater than or equal to 7. So we need to come over to the side and find these two probabilities. The probability of getting a number less than 7, well, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 out of 20, which can be reduced to 3/10. So the probability of getting a number greater than or equal to 7, we could count them up again, or we could just say that that would be 1 minus 3/10. Remember to get a common denominator, so 1 would be 10 over 10. So the probability of getting a number greater than 7 is 7 out of 10. So if we plug into our fraction here, the probability of getting a number less than 7 was 3 out of 10. Greater than 7 was 7 out of 10. And then we need to simplify. And so this is why I've put this in a fraction first. And then once we get it simplified, we'll change it over with the colons. Or with the word 2 in between, whichever one you prefer. So to simplify division of fractions, we take the second number, flip, and multiply. So we'll multiply, we're dividing by 7/10, so we'll multiply by 10 over 7. Basically, the 10s go away, and we get 3 over 7. So the odds for getting a number less than 7 are 3 to 7. If you roll a 20-sided die, determine the odds against rolling a number divisible by 4. So the odds against a number divisible by 4 would be the probability of rolling a number that's not divisible by 4, because we're doing against, divided by the probability of a number that is divisible by 4. So we come over here, and the probability of, let's start with getting a number divisible by 4. So let's see, I'm just going to start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be one of them. So there's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be another. There's 2. 9, 10, 11, 12 is divisible by 4. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 5 out of the 20 sides would be divisible by 4, or 1/4 of them. So the probability of not being divisible by 4 would be 1 minus 1/4, or 4/4 minus 1/4 is 3/4. Okay, so we put not on top, that's the 3/4, and divisible by 4 probability on the bottom. So that's going to be 3/4 times 4 over 1, which is 3 over 1. So the odds against getting a number, rolling a number divisible by 4 is 3 to 1. Next, what if we need to convert from odds to probability? It says the odds of the football team winning the next game is 4 to 5. Determine the probability that they would win the next game. So the probability that they would win, the amount of times that they would win would be 4 out of the total, just like normal with probability, the amount of times that are favorable out of the total. And the total here is basically you've got win to lose. So the total would be 4 plus 5, wins plus loses. So the probability of winning would be 4/9. Let's go back and write this down as a rule on our first page here. So switching from odds to probability, let's say if we have the situation where A is to not A. Move this up here. Then the probability of A would be A over A plus not A. And the probability of not A would be not A over A plus not A, the total. If you hear bells ringing, that's my cat. Sorry. So, for example, 3B it said find the odds against you winning it says the odds against you winning the next game is 7-3. So it's against. So that's lose to win here. Determine the probability that you win. So the probability that you win would be 3 over 7 plus 3, or 3 over 10 is your probability. And then last, what if we are converting from probability to odds? Well, that's basically when we were calculating odds. It's the same thing. So whether we're calculating odds or transferring from probability to odds, we're using this same idea where the probability of A over the probability of not A is 4, and against is the probability of not over the probability 4. Okay? So the probability that you pull a black marble out of a bag is 4 out of 11. What are the odds against pulling out a black marble? So the odds against a black marble would be the probability that you do not get a black marble over the probability that you do get a black marble. So we'll go find these. The probability that you do get a black marble, we've already found, is 4 and 11. So the probability of not getting a black marble would be 1 minus 4 over 11. So that's 11 elevenths minus 4 over 11. 11 minus 4 is 7 elevenths. So we'd have 7 elevenths over 4 elevenths. Flip and multiply. And that's 7-4. And written with colons, 7-4. And last, the probability that you pull a green marble out of the bag is 12-17. What are the odds for pulling out a green marble? So the odds for a green marble will be the probability of pulling out a green marble over the probability of not pulling out a green marble. So we've got the probability of pulling out a green marble. What about not? We'll do 1 minus 12/17. That's 17/17 minus 12/17. 17 minus 12 is 5/17. So we'll put 12/17 over 5/17. Flip and multiply gives us 12 over 5, which is the odds are 12-5 for pulling out a green marble.